Hello, my name is Alex Wilk. My senior project is actually a research project that I'm doing on disaster preparation. I chose San Luis Obispo as my site, and the main inspiration for my senior project came from Hurricane Sandy, the devastating hurricane that swept over the East Coast, causing enormous amounts of damage in New Jersey and New York. The information that we gleaned from this horrible disaster can hopefully be used in preventing any sort of future natural disasters from occurring, or at least having as serious an impact as it had on the East Coast. For my research information, I obviously studied the City of San Luis Obispo Emergency Operations Plan and supplemental information such as the Tsunami Emergency Response Plan, and applied it as best I could to the site, which was actually a little bit trickier than it would come across. One of the great actual examples of proactive planning, which is the first implementation of my mapping, was studying the natural disasters that occurred in San Luis Obispo. One of them, during the early 1970s, was a major flood that devastated major parts of San Luis Obispo, forcing a lot of evacuations. The city actually reacted very intelligently by deepening the river that actually goes through San Luis Obispo's downtown district, as well as several others throughout the community, creating a very aesthetically pleasing, useful, and safe resource for the city. Similar implementation is actually done by landscape architect James Corner, who is currently designing the Fresh Kills Park on Staten Island. He is using it as obviously an untapped resource that was originally landfill, but it also actually was an effective resource of absorbing a large part of the impact of the waves that would have harmed a lot of houses. Another impact that was successfully done in New Jersey was the creation of artificial dunes with plantings, obviously done by volunteers in order to make sure that the area wasn't completely washed away by the sand. But it effectively worked. It may have blocked a couple of views from people's beach houses, but it helped save those same beach houses. Now, another step is reactive. This is also an image due to the devastation of Hurricane Sandy. Reactive, once the damage has been done, what can you do to help people rebuild, or at least get them warm, safe, and dry? So this is a map of San Luis Obispo, which is just as helpful as some of the information that was found on that same manual. In tsunami evacuation, there is basically a couple information just to get to higher ground. They don't tell you how to get to higher ground, and when they do give you a specific location, such as in Montaña de Oro or in Los Osos, they tell you to get to a location, not how to get to it. There's no specific routes, no consideration for transportation. If there is no transportation, how do they get there? There's no complete indoctrinated method. For part of my senior project and research, I would be charting out a number of routes that are possible to take. I actually came up with a few of them. However, I didn't take into consideration such as massive flooding or the utilization of public transport. Now, these are the locations in San Luis Obispo in case of a mass evacuation. These are 3 solid locations: Laguna Middle High School and 2 churches. These are 3 exact locations on where to go, which is incredibly helpful if people knew about them and if people knew how to get to them. That's another element of mapping out exactly how to get to these areas from certain areas, from suburban areas, and I'll be going into more detail on that in further research. But these are 2 rather confusing areas. Everyone knows where Cal Poly San Luis Obispo is, and a lot of people know where the Cuesta College is. However, a lot of people don't know exactly where to go. And that includes the people who created the emergency plan. According to the plan, it is designated by the facility managers of Cal Poly and Cuesta what facilities will be used in times of crisis, which I think is a little bit lacking in foresight. I would like to come up with some conclusive plans on how to use specific facilities in case of a major crisis hitting San Luis Obispo or anywhere on the Central Coast. This is my 3rd and final part of my presentation, the inactive sort of reaction. What happens once those areas that have been abandoned or will have to be abandoned, what will happen to them, and is there any way to try to bounce back from that sort of effort? Behind me is actually an image from Detroit, Michigan, colloquially known as Motown, that was abandoned due to a financial crisis and is still not completely recovered from it. This, however, is not from Detroit. This is actually from Cal Poly, an abandoned building on campus that is completely unused. It's an example of how even in the most prosperous situations there are areas that cannot be reclaimed, and how are they dealt with. This is a image from Coney Island, completely abandoned. You have to take into consideration how these people will be able to return or at least reclaim part of their lives that were tied up with this, and hopefully doesn't become an image such as Chernobyl, which is behind me, a similar image that is still to this day completely evacuated. So thank you very much. Please leave any comments below. I really do appreciate it, and have a nice day. Thank you.